Do you have anything more? Because I was going to actually hand it over to Kimberly to talk about.
Let's do it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to hand us over to Kimberly. And Kimberly is our profiler training community leader, and she's the person who's put together a lot of the community aspects. So Kimberly, are you on right now?
We actually, as she's coming on, I'll just say this about Kimberly. It's really hard. We've gone round and round about what her actual title is, because she, she does a lot, and she really facilitates the community piece. And really, I would say that a lot of the community stuff that we do now is because Kimberly's leadership. She was actually a student, and she said, "Hey guys, have you thought about doing this and this?" And she named all these things, and we're like, not really. Maybe that would be really cool. Or yeah, we thought about that. We don't have anybody to do it. And she just stepped into leadership as a student, started doing it, and then all of a sudden she's working with us, and things amazing are happening. I mean, it wasn't all of a sudden. We obviously hired her. So it's a little difficult to figure out her title because she does so much amazing work that we're really excited to have her be part of this piece. So welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you. I'm super excited about the class of 2018, and the reason I am is because every time a new class comes in, it's just full of amazing people. There are already 33 people in your class, and I've met most of them. They're the early birds, and we have them from Australia and New Zealand to Japan, all over North America and Europe, even Rio de Janeiro this year and Burma. So it really is all over the world. Past classes have even had people from the Middle East and from Africa. So I'm hoping that those trends continue, because the more people we have from all over the world, the better perspective everybody in the class can get about how types show up across cultures, across different experiences. It just is so exciting when somebody joins from another country, another culture. So in 2018, it really is, I can honestly say, going to be the best year of profiler training, because every year is better. We make it better every year. We're updating it and changing it and tweaking it and trying to do all the things that Joel and Antonio were talking about in helping you become proficient and mastering the skill. So I'm super excited to work with all of you in the coming year. Before I joined profiler training, I was seriously operating from a place of scarcity. I found Myers-Briggs and I thought, oh my gosh, there's feelers everywhere. I'm an ENTJ and there's sensors everywhere. I'm never going to be able to find the kind of conversation I crave. And I joined profiler training, and that stupid belief was absolutely blown out of the water. I have such a feeling of abundance now because of the community that is there, the connections I've made, and it's just been amazing. So my story, I'm an ENTJ, so that means I use effectiveness and perspectives. I grew up kind of all over the world. I spent most of my childhood in Hawaii, and I joined the military. I was a go-getter. I was on top of the world. I was the fastest person to get E6 in the Alaska unit that I was in. I was the first female to be a flight engineer in a Black Hawk. I was just killing it. I was Soldier of the Year in 2013, and I got deployed 6 months after my husband. So this is where kind of my life started to, get a little shaky. So I got deployed to Mosul. I was a door gunner on a VIP mission, and I got to fly around Condoleezza Rice. We escorted Donald Rumsfeld. I flew generals around the entire time I was there. And it was a pretty sweet deal going to all the sheiks' houses and the mayor's house, and just really immersed in the culture there. Learned to love goat immensely. So my life was going pretty good, except that I had lost a baby right before I got deployed. And we lost a helicopter about 8 months into my tour. And in classic ENTJ style, I just kept going, chop, chop, get it done, lead my people. And inside I was falling apart. So I ultimately ended up coming home early. And when I came home, I was struggling to rectify these two people. The person who was better than most of the men, could give them a run for their money, shooting and running and all of those military things, with the person who had to turn in her gun and say, I can't do this anymore. I have to go home. It destroyed my military career. They would never promote me again. I was done. And so what do you do with that kind of information? And so I spent several years just kind of, hunkered down, probably in an FI grip. And I found Myers-Briggs, and I was like, oh, this might answer some of the questions. This might tell me what happened. And so I started digging and digging and digging. And as you probably know, there are so many resources for Myers-Briggs. It's like endless. A YouTube channel, a blog, this one, that one, over here. They're contradictory. It's confusing. Does that mean FI or does that mean FE? I don't know. And so when I found Personality Hacker, it was finally like a system that was, one, consistent, and two, I could take the patterns that they gave me, go out in the real world and go, oh, yes, that's it. That actually makes sense. And that was just with the free content. So I started doing research, and when the cart opened for me 2 years ago, I joined. Ta-da! I was right where you are 2 years ago. And I slammed through all that material in about 2 weeks. I just consumed it like a junkie. And then I went back again and I, slowed down and really dug into it. And it was just fascinating to start seeing all the patterns and for it to all make sense. And for me to no longer see myself as broken, never fixable, whatever, all of those things, all those beliefs started to crumble, not only because of Myers-Briggs, but also because of my exposure to the amazing people in profiler training. So I won't say that profiler training like fixed my life and everything's amazing and all my relationships are repaired, but it has given me a vehicle for getting from broken to mostly, amazing. So I have a fondness for Myers-Briggs and obviously for Personality Hacker. And as Joel and Antonia mentioned, I kind of, took over and started leading, and I kind of became who I was before, the person who was willing to step into the gap, the person who was willing to say, come on, follow me. And that was huge for me. And so now I run profiler training for Joel and Antonia. I also profile for them, and I have a little bit of a side hustle where I profile as well. I had 2 sessions last week where I was actually paid $300 for each of those sessions, profiling some high, very visible people, like people who have TED Talks. And it was just amazing to get to talk to those people. And I also now am starting my own coaching business, and I have my first paying client. Woohoo! And it's been a journey. So profiler training can take you somewhere. It depends on how you want to apply it. And in some of my case studies, like the people I'm going to tell you about, some of my friends from profiler training, you'll see kind of the diversity of the ways you can use it. You don't all have to be coaches. You don't all have to start profiling, but there's just a lot of leverage that can be gained for you if it's something you want. So one of the first people I wanted to bring to your attention is Betsy. Betsy is an ENFJ, which means she uses perspectives and harmony. And I honestly, not joking, was a little afraid of harmony. Like, whoa, those people can see things I can't. They see a whole layer of stuff that freaks me out. And Betsy took me in. She's married to an ENTJ. I kind of remind her of her husband. And she showed me through just her being who she is, how amazing Effie is. So Betsy has 5 kids. She's currently living in Georgia. She homeschooled all 5 of those kids. So she's super kick-ass and possibly slightly insane, but in the best way. When she joined, she had a coaching business, but it wasn't thriving the way she wanted it to. She was kind of suffering for the imposter syndrome. Am I bringing value? Can I really charge people for this? All of those demons that everybody deals with when they're leveling up. That's where Betsy was when she joined. So she came to profiler training, and she started learning all of these systems, to help people. And she has accuracy in her stack, and it just really appealed to her how Antonia teaches. So she got in there, and now she uses all the tools she learned uniquely. She does profiling sessions with a storyboarding method. She rolls out a big piece of brown paper, and she actually starts drawing while people are telling her what's going on as she asks questions. It's a very visual process for her because she's an artist. So she's taken the tools that Joel and Antonia have given her and turned it into her own unique thing that she helps her clients with. And so now she has been able to double the fee that she charges for coaching. She has a side hustle where she does profiling sessions, and then she also flips some of those customers that she profiles into paying clients for her coaching business. So Betsy is super rad. And bonus, she has volunteered because she's certified to be a mentor next year. So some of you are going to get to work with Betsy personally. Like you'll be in her small group and she'll be answering questions and working with you and mentoring you. And I'm super excited for those of you that get hooked up with Betsy. I'm excited for all people who are mentoring. I won't get to cover all of them because I really had to pick. There's just so many amazing people I could tell you about. But Betsy is one of the people who's going to be front and center for several of you in this group tonight.
Hey,
the second person.
Kimberly, just before we move on, because somebody asked, Betsy's an INFJ, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Did I not say INFJ?
I'm
sorry.
I think you said ENFJ, but it doesn't matter. I just want to make sure that.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No.
She's an INFJ.
No. My apologies.
So she's not amazing,
Yeah.
and she's an introvert.
Yeah, exactly.
She won that one.
And one thing I just want to mention really quick, because as you were talking about both your experience and Betsy's experience, somebody asked if they wondered if their workplace would allow them to use professional enrichment funds to complete this. If I just want to mention that to the person who asked it in case you have to leave early, we have actually had a couple people utilize that in their workplace, that they use professional enrichment, HR services. And if you want to ask more information around that, please shoot us an email and we can provide you some resources to take to your work, to HR department or to your company to help you if that was something that would actually really enrich your current job situation. So the answer is yes to that. All right. Sorry, Kimberly, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please
That's
continue.
okay. Jump in whenever you want. It's your show anyway, right? So the second person I want to bring to your attention, totally on the other side of the spectrum from Betsy, is Dan. Dan joined in 2016. He's a Canadian, and he is an INTP, so he uses accuracy exploration. And one of the things he specifically told me that he loves about profiler training is that the way Antonia teaches, how nuanced she is with what she brings, and it appealed to his TI. Like, it wasn't fluff. It was real and tangible, and he's a TI driver, so you know that this stuff isn't joking around. So Dan is a computer programmer by trade, and he also works in mentorship and coaching in his free time. So he actually coaches coaches. He's a pretty big deal, and he and I got along really well. And about 8 months ago, he and I read Spiral Dynamics together. So that's another bonus to joining profiler training, is the extra rabbit holes that you can travel with people that you identify with. You can totally break off and read something else. My year, we did a whole bunch of Enneagram stuff amongst ourselves. So there's just so many opportunities to make this what you want it to be. Dan joined profiler training to, of course, learn the nuances of cognitive functions, and like, he really appealed to his TI. But the challenge he was having was resentment at work, like not understanding TE. Why are these deadlines there? It all seemed so manufactured, and it wasn't making sense to him. And then also struggling with just relationships with his family. So when he got in there and really understood the cognitive functions and embodied them, he was able to go back to work and go, oh, I get it now. I get it. And now he says he's able to communicate in a way that shows he does understand what is meaningful to his employers. He does get it, and he's able to show up better at work. And he said, added bonus with his family, it helped with all of the relationships, but a surprise for him was how much it helped with his father, because his father is a bit of a mystery to the whole family. He figured out that his dad is an SI driver. So Dan is an INTP, so he kind of understands SI memory stuff. But now he's like, oh, so this last summer, he was able to go on a trip with his dad and really get to understand his dad and repair that relationship and really make it amazing. So as Antonia mentioned earlier, it is not your fate to be misunderstood if FE is in the back of your car. As a matter of fact, I find FE in the back of the car like super endearing. It's just so fun. The third person I wanted to bring to you is Greg. And if you got the email yesterday or the day before, you may have already kind of met Greg. But his story is like super fantabulous, so I wanted to highlight him anyway. Greg is from Kansas. He is an ENFJ, so he has harmony and perspectives, and he is a hostage negotiator. Yes, you heard that correctly. He's a hostage negotiator. Isn't that like crazy? And he's using this in real time to like potentially save lives. So he's doing this job. It's super intense. Imagine like you're in a barricaded subject behind a door, has hostages, and it's your job to understand this person in all that stress and communicate with them where they're at and try to get them to come out to you. And so he uses profiler training to level up his game as a hostage negotiator. As a matter of fact, I think it was 3-4 months ago, he was like, I have to tell you a story. So we hopped on a call. I was like, okay, so what's up, Greg? He says, okay, so I was in a barricaded situation, somebody behind a door, and I used profiler training to roughly figure out that this guy was most likely using FI. Then I could craft my message to reach this individual who was like super stressed out, obviously, and bring him out by appealing to his values and how he connected to his family and what would that mean to him and all of those things. And he was able to close that situation without any violence. Of course, I don't know super detailed stuff because, you know, it's a real life situation. He couldn't divulge many details. But after the fact, his boss noticed and was like, okay, so what happened there? Like, can you break that down for me? And he's like, yeah, it's Myers-Briggs, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you. And he says, okay, you have to teach all of this. And so he's been kind of teaching his fellow coworkers how to identify, how to use these tools to better bring these really stressful situations to a close. And that is like so crazy to me that he's good enough that he can use it in those stressful situations in real time. It's just fantastic. And like Antonia said, his chief of police I think it's his chief of police, could be a detective. Sorry if I messed that up, Greg, was considering paying for his course, and they're working on getting monies to possibly send through with you a few of his fellow coworkers. So that's another real-time way that somebody is using it. You don't just have to be a coach to be using profiler training. It is so multifaceted. I mean, in what line of work would you not benefit from being able to understand the people around you better, to be able to communicate with the people above you, the people below you? Like, it's so amazing. The last person I wanted to bring to you is Emily. And as Joel and Antonia mentioned, we do have sensors in the class. Like, bust that myth wide open. The sensors are amazing. I love having them in the class. They bring to profiler training of the full perspective so that we can't sit around and be the intuitives wondering what the sensor experience is like. We can just ask them, hey, Emily, what's it like? So Emily is an ESFP. So she actually leads with sensation, and her co-pilot is authenticity. She lives in Nashville, Tennessee. She's young. I forgot to ask her age. I think she's in her late 20s. She's super fun, super cute. She is in a musical band called, let me make sure I get that right. The Morris Sisters. They perform live at like farmers markets and stuff. She is also the owner and founder of a business called Spanish Lessons with Emily. So she's a teacher. She has 10 people that she manages. And when she came to profiler training, she was struggling with being behind the computer screen all the time. Like, her 10-year-old of effectiveness was just like, I have to manage these people and there's so much to do and it's so hard. And through profiler training, she was able to understand, okay, that's my 10-year-old process. That's not going to give me much energy. How am I using that? How does this look? Okay, I can delegate. So in the past year, she's been able to delegate a whole bunch of stuff so that she can do what she loves in teaching. And she's also used the knowledge that she has from profiler training to not only craft how she teaches, but how she teaches her teachers. So she is upping her game as a business owner and how she communicates with her customers and her employees. So, one thing that she does that I think is super cool is she did a 4K biathlon with her dog, and she just does like all this sensor stuff that nobody else brings to the table. And she shared with us last year some of her notes, and they were all doodles and pictures, and they were super amazing. We had her share those. So once you're in profiler training, you can search for her in the Facebook page, and you'll get to see some of her stuff and like how her mind works and how she visualized the material and turned it into a story for herself to be able to remember. So those are just a few of the amazing people that are in the class that you will be able to interact with, to meet with, to ask questions to learn from, and to teach using your experience, because every new person brings another layer of amazingness to this class. Like, I'm so excited to meet the people who join this year. And so some things that you have to look forward to as a student. They've already covered some of them, but I'm going to touch on them anyway. As they said, you'll get all the materials at once. That means you join, you enroll, you get it all. You can just like suck all that up as fast as you want. It's all yours. Okay. That's what I did. Like, I was totally a junkie. My husband thought I was insane. So you can do that if you want, and then go back and really dig in with us in the syllabus, which will start the first week of January. I will be guiding you through, we'll be posting weekly. This is what we're talking about. We'll have discussions. It'll be interactive. It'll be, peer, everybody brings something new to the table. And this addresses one of the major concerns that I hear when people ask me about profiler training or new students. What about motivation? What if I don't have what it takes to finish this class? What do I do? How do I stay focused? Just stay with me, keep up, participate, and you will get there. Like, don't worry about that piece. Just get there and do each incremental assignment as it comes weekly in Slack, and you'll be fine. Okay. Slack is nice. It's simple. And it also keeps all of your stuff in one place. That way you're not fighting with Facebook, like which one of these many things is my class? So there's Slack for like the official class for the new students. And then we also have Facebook, because Facebook is kind of fun, but you don't have to do Facebook. So that's a fun place to go. Everybody hangs out. We post videos. What do you think this person's type is? I just had this epiphany. So imagine all the Myers-Briggs groups you're probably in, without the trolls, without the please help me, what type am I, without the selfie feeds that kind of can clog up your Facebook page, and put a whole bunch of amazing people who actually are not just dabblers in Myers-Briggs, who have learning minds, who are deeply diving into it. And that is the Facebook group. So as soon as you join, I'll let you in. It's a super secret group. Nobody can find it. I have to like invite you and let you in. And I will invite you, and you can come hang out with all the past students and get to know everybody, or just lurk. You can also just lurk. That's an okay option. So I think that is about it. I just can't tell you enough how excited I am about meeting you and including you in my circle, my tribe, the people that make me better, because that is ultimately what I see for everybody who seriously takes profiler training, is that we are all better. We all grow, we're all growth minded, and we're all getting where we want to be. So thank you so much for coming aboard.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you, Kimberly, so much. Actually,
You're
somebody
welcome.
in the chat said, "You're awesome, Kimberly," and I can't echo that more. Kimberly, like
Thank you.
it's important to understand how important it is to get familiar with Kimberly, because Kimberly is so instrumental in profiler training. So I really appreciate you hopping on, Kimberly, giving us all those case studies, all the different ways that people, like different types of people who have come on and how they apply it, and to tell us your story too, because I noticed a lot of vulnerability in there, which is one of the ways that you've integrated your introverted feeling 3-year-old. And so, yeah, you are an illustration of that. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You are very welcome.
All right.
Thank you, Kimberly.
All right.